My name is Meg Parker, and I teach English language and teacher preparation courses here at the University of California, Irvine. I've been an English teacher for 20 years, and I've taught here at UC Irvine for the past 10 of those. I'm originally from the state of South Carolina, but I've lived in California and Oregon for the past 20 years. I studied French in high school and also in university, and I spent 3 years living in Mexico teaching English and studying Spanish. And my native language is English. I'm very passionate about teaching languages and teaching in general. And I love teaching grammar because it's the best tool for really improving your speaking and writing. I'm excited that you're taking this course, and I hope that by the end, you'll notice a really big improvement in your complex sentences. Complex sentences. Introduction. This course is all about complex sentences, but what is a complex sentence? Let's start by defining the word complex. Complex means having many different parts. This line, for example, is not complex. It's simple. These lines, on the other hand, are more complex. Now, let's think about your brain. Our thoughts are very complex, and in our first language, we effectively communicate these ideas because we have complex language. However, when you're learning a new language, your ability to express these thoughts is limited by your language. Complex sentences allow you to express complex thoughts, and knowing different types of complex sentences is key if you want to communicate your thoughts in detail to other people. Complex sentences are just one kind of sentence. Simple sentences have one subject-verb group. You'll learn all about subjects and verbs, by the way, in the vocabulary of adjective clauses. Here's some basic grammar vocabulary for this course. We'll talk a lot about nouns, adjectives, verbs, and about clauses, both independent clauses and dependent clauses. If you're not sure what these words mean, don't worry. You'll learn now. First, let's talk about nouns. A noun is a person, like hiker, baby, or Anna. A place, like a planet, hospital, or Africa. A thing, like a shirt, phone, or cup. And an idea, like love, luck, or justice. So remember, person, place, things, and ideas. That's a noun. Next, verbs. Verbs are the motor of a sentence. Without one, nothing happens. Verbs have several different functions. Most verbs express some sort of action, like a physical action such as swim or walk, or a mental action like think or know. They also express a state of being. The most common verb that does this is the be verb. Am, is, and are in the present, and was and were in the past. Finally, some verbs just help other verbs, like doesn't or will. Now, what's a subject? Subjects have nouns in them. They come before verbs. A subject tells who or what does the verb, and every sentence has a subject. Here, the circled words are verbs. Who or what does these verbs? The subject. Notice that every subject has a noun in it. These nouns are all things. The subject can also have a pronoun. Those are words like they or he or she that take the place of nouns. All of these groups of words are clauses. A clause is a group of words with a subject and a verb. These kinds of clauses are independent clauses. That means they can stand on their own as a complete sentence. Other clauses are dependent. For example, here are some clauses. They each have a subject and a verb. But do they make sense to you? That the learners will enjoy, which their peers will read, whose sentences are complex. These don't make sense because they're not complete sentences. These words make these clauses dependent on another clause. Like a baby, they cannot be by themselves. If I add an independent clause, like this class has lessons, the sentence makes more sense. Learners write clauses and you will write a paragraph are also independent clauses. They're necessary, like the baby's parent, and they're sometimes called main clauses. Sentences with independent and dependent clauses together are called complex sentences. There are three kinds of dependent clauses in complex sentences: adverb clauses, noun clauses, and adjective clauses. Our focus in this course. Before we go, let's talk about adjectives for a moment. What is an adjective? Well, here are some nouns. Adjectives are words that describe them, like noisy, I have a noisy baby. Large, that is a large hospital. Expensive, this is an expensive phone. And good, I have good luck. Notice that these adjectives come before the nouns they describe. An adjective clause acts like an adjective. It also describes a noun. However, they come after nouns. Who makes a lot of noise describes my baby. Which has many floors describes the hospital. Whose price was high and that never ends also describe nouns. These are clauses because they have a subject and a verb. Each of these clauses depends on the main clause or independent clause to make a complete sentence. Okay, you should now be able to explain what this basic vocabulary means, but also rest assured that you'll learn much more about each of these throughout the course. Now, let's practice more with these ideas. Good luck!
Hi, for this lesson, I will give a short overview about adjective clauses. But first, let's review what an adjective is. Adjectives are words that describe a noun. Imagine you need to move to a new apartment. What kind of apartment do you want? A big apartment? A clean apartment? A quiet apartment? Big, clean, and quiet all describe the noun apartment. They are adjectives. An adjective clause is similar to an adjective. It also describes a noun, but it looks different. What kind of apartment do you want? Here is an example. I want to live in an apartment that has a big bathroom. That has a big bathroom is an adjective clause. Or we can think about roommates. What kind of roommate do you want? I want a roommate who likes to cook. A roommate that pays rent on time is also important. Who likes to cook and that pays rent on time are adjective clauses. There are two important points. Number one, in adjective clauses, there are special pronouns that connect the main clause to the adjective clause. Who, whom, which, that, and whose. Number two, adjective clauses also contain a verb. These are important points to remember when making sentences with adjective clauses. You are ready to watch more videos on adjective clauses now. Enjoy!
Adjective Clauses Overview, Guided Practice. We'll do guided practice with adjective clause exercises. This will help you to successfully do the independent practice, which will help you in your ultimate goal, using adjective clauses in your own life. Let's review. What are adjectives? They're words that describe nouns. But what's a noun? A person, place, thing, an idea. I want a big car. Big is the adjective. Car is a noun, a thing. I have an expensive house. Expensive is an adjective that describes house, a place. I need a nice roommate. We have true love. Notice that each adjective comes before the noun it describes. Now let's look at adjective clauses. Instead of saying, I want a big car, you could also say, I want a car which fits 10 people. I have an expensive house, or I have a house that costs $2 million. I need a nice roommate, or I need a roommate who asks me about my day. We have true love. We have a love that will last forever. Notice that unlike adjectives, adjective clauses come after the noun they describe. This is very important. They must come immediately following that noun. Also, notice this. Instead of just big, you can say which fits 10 people. That describes a lot more. Finally, notice that all adjective clauses contain a verb. Adjective clause sentences can look two ways. They can either have the adjective clause at the end or in the middle. Look at this sentence. I have a roommate who rides a motorcycle. Here's the independent clause. It has a subject-verb group. And here's the adjective clause with its relative pronoun who. The adjective clause describes which roommate. But here's another way to write an adjective clause sentence. The motorcycle that she rides belonged to her dad. Here's the subject-verb group of the independent clause. And here's the adjective clause with a relative pronoun, that. The adjective clause comes in the middle of the independent clause, right after the noun it describes, motorcycle. Now let's practice finding adjective clauses in sentences. Here's a sentence. I have a roommate who bakes delicious treats. Here are some steps for finding the clauses. First, find the subjects and verbs in the sentence. Here's a subject-verb group, and here's a verb. Check. Next, find the relative pronoun. Remember, those are words like who, whom, that, which, and whose. Here's one, who. Check. Finally, decide where the adjective and independent clauses are. The adjective clause starts with who, and the independent clause is this clause. Let's try another one. The roommate that loves to bake is from Australia. First, find the subjects and verbs. Here's one group, the roommate is. And here's another verb, loves. Check. Next, find the relative pronoun. Here it is. Check. Finally, where are the clauses? What's the independent clause? It starts here with roommate. And what verb goes with roommate? Is from Australia. The roommate is from Australia is the independent clause. The adjective clause is here. That loves to bake. This is an adjective clause that's in the middle of the independent clause. Done. Okay, now you're ready to practice on your own. If you make a mistake, don't worry. Mistakes can be valuable learning opportunities. Good luck.